town of the good, the bad, and the weird. You either live by the gun, or you die by the sword.
Welcome to The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. I'm Nico.
And I'm Chris.
And today we are doing a movie that we decided upon this one because, one, we had realized we had never done a Jackie Chan movie.
And how could we not do Jackie Chan?
And another icon of cinema, Owen Wilson.
Who, again, how have we managed to miss both of these people?
And almost 100 episodes, none of them have been covered.
Which is crazy because Jackie Chan is one of my favorite actors of all time.
Yes. And so, no, we are not doing I Spy. We are doing Shanghai Noon.
Yeah, not even Around the World in 80 Days.
No.
Shanghai Noon.
Shanghai Noon.
A cinema masterpiece.
Oh, yes. So, for those who don't know, Shanghai Noon is a 2000 action-adventure comedy about a guard from the Forbidden City who is sent on a mission to rescue the princess who has run away to the wild, wild west, where he teams up with a dipshit outlaw.
Yeah, it's Kung Fu in a Western movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
Two of our passions combined.
It's honestly one of the greatest combos.
Actually, this is the second kind of movie we've covered like this.
It is. There is like a weird subgenre of Kung Fu Westerns that we've managed to discover.
Yeah. Yeah, and also Takashi Miike.
Yes, of course.
Sukiyaki Western Django, if you haven't seen that one. But that one's in a different vein, too. That's a little bit more abstract, where this has like a level of realism to it.
It does, and this also is incredibly self-aware.
Yes.
Whereas I think with a lot of the other Westerns that we've talked about, it's either been part of the Western genre or too early to be recognizing of like the tropes of Westerns.
Yeah, or being at a point where they didn't really take the leap to make like kind of commentary on Owen Wilson's character.
Yes, I think the only thing that we've really talked about that comes within the same vein of Western would be Wild Wild West.
Sukiyaki Western Django.
Yeah, in ways.
Yeah.
In many ways.
Very much in many ways. But Shanghai Noon was directed by Tom Day and written by Miles Miller and Alfred Goh.
This is Tom Day's first film.
Yes, it is. It stars Jackie Chan, Owen Wilson, and Lucy Liu.
Mostly Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson.
Yes. Yeah, that is very true. As for Miller and Goh, they had done writing for Lethal Weapon 4, Time Cop, and a couple of shows that I'm not super familiar with.
Of course, you know.
And as for Jackie Chan, I doubt he needs any real introduction today. But
yeah, seriously.
I think it's important because while I was doing I was just kind of thinking about, like, Jackie Chan's history and, like, little things I don't know about him as an actor and his acting repertoire.
Oh, sure.
But I think it's important that at this point, Chan had only slightly risen to success recently in Hollywood with his career with Rumble in the Bronx in 1995 and Rush Hour in 1998. But before this, he did have a wealth of Hong Kong films that...
He was huge in Hong Kong.
Yeah, I still need to see a lot of them, but he has this wealth of work that's not...
It didn't translate over.
Well, and even then, like, we've come across some of his other movies that have been in the last decade that we had no clue about because they were Hong Kong films.
Exactly.
And they didn't have the same carryover to the U.S.
Yes.
And while I was looking in on it, Wilson's career is about the same time and place where he was becoming a household name. He had done some comedies and some work with Wes Anderson, as well as he was in Anaconda. But
he definitely wasn't, like, fully into that typecast that we all know and love him for now.
No, exactly. And it's the same thing with Lucy Liu.
Yes.
Which I've never really followed her career, and though she was of the three. In the US, she had a wider range of stuff that she'd done. She'd been in a variety of shows since the 90s.
Yeah.
And only pre-Shanghai Noon role I know her from is when she plays the dominatrix Pearl in Payback.
That's what I thought you would recognize her from.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I recognize her from Charlie's Angels, but her early career.
Sure.
Yeah. I only watched that because my dad's like, hey, watch this Mel Gibson movie with me. It's stupid as hell, but it's fun.
Yeah. Honestly, she's one of those actresses that, like, once you start realizing that, like, she's out there and you find what time period she had a lot of her stuff, she does pop up a lot more. But, like, it's definitely one of those time period sort of things where, like, if you're too early, you're gonna miss her stuff. If you, like, jumping around like we do, you might miss her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Charlie. Yeah. And so, I don't know. I think it's just kind of interesting that this is where, like...
This was definitely, like, a crossroads for all three of them.
Yeah. It's a silly movie, but it's kind of like this big convergence. Kind of like how we saw, like, the Rising Stars in the Fast and the Furious franchise.
Yes, yeah. And, like, this one really helped, I think, for a lot of people, really solidify a lot of their, like, stereotypical roles. Like, they had already had movies where, like, Jackie Chan does his martial arts plus his comedy, and Owen Wilson's, you know, suave romantic character comedy. And then Lucy Liu being the badass character that she usually plays. But, like, they had all been, like, intro roles. And now it felt like, okay, this is how they all work.
Yeah.
Like, they can work together with other actors and actresses at this point.
Yeah. And I don't think I've ever heard anyone refer to Owen Wilson as suave. The only...
He himself, not suave. All of the characters that he plays attempting to be suave.
Okay, attempting to be suave,
yes,
not actually suave.
It's like if someone watched Princess Bride and was like, I want to be like the Dread Pirate Roberts, but I'm not good at it and I will not wear a mask.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah, I think the only person I really know is like, I don't know if he's like super into it, but our buddy Quantum Ferret, where he that some of his emotes were Owen Wilson. So. Yeah,
like the man now is so recognizable for like his rom-com kind of like, and like he's branched out recently since then. Like he's definitely tried to be less.
Oh yeah, God,
hot dad. But
no, he's.
But now it's a little bit more like dad.
Oh, speaking of movies, my family's has gotten me to watch. My brother Tanner, there was one movie, I can't remember the name of it. It's Owen Wilson. Basically, he moves to this Eastern Asian country. I can't remember which one exactly. And there's like a revolt going on, but it's like his first day there, and he's trapped trying to escape with his family because they're trying to overthrow the corporation that he's now working for.
Yes, that tracks. That sounds about right.
Yeah. Tanner was like super, this movie's it's so great, and we're all like, at least I was. I think some of my family shares the same sentiment where it's like, it was fine, it wasn't amazing.
It wasn't groundbreaking.
No. But granted, Tanner doesn't watch as many movies as a lot of the rest of us do. As
we have well learned, what is earth-shattering for one person is another person's garbage.
Yes, exactly. And we love garbage.
Which has brought us squarely to Shanghai Noon.
Exactly. So, the movie was actually pitched by Chan as East meets West with the producers of Rush Hour, who had decided to hire Miller and Go because at the time Chan's English wasn't good enough, or really even good at the time to...
No, he had a lot of, like, memorizing the English line and then spewing it back. And it is crazy to see, like, the difference between how we now remember him versus, like, those older films of, like, when he was still getting his feet.
Yeah, well, and, especially, like, because this is probably really the first one that really stuck out with me, and I said really a lot, stuck out with me for Jackie Chan. This and Rush Hour were, like, the two big ones for me as a kid.
Yeah.
But after that, it kind of fizzled out for me because he was in the Babysitter?
Yeah.
Spy Next Door, The Medallion.
80 Days Around the World.
All of which I've never seen.
It all revolves around his, like, style that, like, this movie helps, like, it's a good example of what he, like, developed for this time period. And then he moved on to, like, having his name be big. And so he branched out. He used that. He
basically did what a lot of action actors have done at the time and got into family movies. Like Vin Diesel was in The Pacifier.
Sure.
Rock was the Tooth Fairy.
I will say though that something that really, for me anyway, makes Jackie Chan stand out, because like I like The Rock, I like Vin Diesel. We've talked endlessly about how much I like them.
Yeah.
But something that makes Jackie Chan stand out for me is from the get-go, even though he was doing martial arts style films, and they were always kind of action based anyway, because that is the nature of martial art films, he always managed to be family centric in like a very odd way, but it was something we didn't have. Like it was like the actual family appropriate WWE,
Yeah, now that you're saying that, that makes a lot of sense, because...
And it was something of his personality that he managed to hold on to through a lot of his characters, especially these early ones where, like, he had his, like, silly moments during the fight scenes, but his character almost always was portrayed in almost a wholesome way. Like, that borderline where, like, yeah, he drinks, yeah, like, in this movie, he smokes. But, like, it never makes you feel like, oh, my grandmother would be so upset by Jackie Chan.
Oh, yeah, I mean... Granted, that makes me think of, like, older kid movie, or, like, kid games where, like, they smoke and do stuff, and, like, can't do it. Like, the first Harvest Moon I got, Friends of Mineral Town.
Yes.
Rated E10+, because of alcohol use.
Yeah. Jackie Chan back then was E10+.
Yeah. And I'll have to do a little bit of digging on it, because I think we're still in that wave of the wake that Bruce Lee left from the 70s.
We were still heavy, like... Bruce Lee definitely, like, when people saw that there was going to be kung fu in action, granted, people at this point kind of knew what they were getting into with a Jackie Chan film, but people went because they had seen Bruce Lee films.
Or Rush Hour. Yeah. Well, and I say I think, but there's a book I want to get into at some point. I bought it a while ago, hoping to get to it for this episode, but life's been a bit busy.
Sounds about right.
But it's These Fists Break Bricks, and it's about the whole explosion of kung fu movies in the U.S., especially with Shaw Brothers collection that I have, and then I think Arrow's releasing Shaw Brothers Volume 2. They put a trailer out, but...
Cross your fingers?
Fingers crossed. I still haven't gotten to the first volume, so...
Yeah, but there was an impact that Bruce Lee left in America specifically.
Yeah.
For kung fu films, but Bruce Lee's stuff was always very serious, it felt like. And Jackie Chan, and I feel like there was an interview with him where he talked about, like, yes, he understands that, like, he'll always be compared a little bit to him, but that humor level... He wanted it to be more accessible to everyone.
It's in the special features
of
this movie. It's in the special features for this.
See?
Yeah. And so, speaking of that is our source for this movie, is the special features and the commentary from cast and crew.
And my extensive knowledge of Jackie Chan lore.
And my very lack of knowledge of most of this, besides, like, Westerns.
That's fair.
And before we get into it, Chris, what are we drinking today?
Well, we needed to blend East meets West, so we have a Japanese whiskey.
Hibiki Harmony, specifically.
Very nice.
Cheers.
Cheers. That's nice.
Mm-hmm. Enjoy it. It's a very hard one to get my hands on nowadays.
I will savor it well.
So, Shanghai Noon.
Ah, yes.
The opening credits begin over what feels like, to us non-Mandarin readers, just generic Chinese writing.
It does feel a lot like how back in, like, the early 2000s, 90s, there's like, hey, I got a cool Chinese tattoo.
Oh, yeah.
It's like drinking water.
Oh, there's a YouTuber, I can't remember his name. Dude speaks, like, fluent Chinese. And he walks around, like...
letting people know what it says?
No, like, he has, like, a really bad, like, stupid name, like... I think he got a fake tattoo on, but he's got, like, shirts that say, like, really dumb stuff on them.
Yes.
And then when they start commenting, he starts asking them in Chinese, oh, you like my shirt?
I love it. Yeah, thankfully... the writers and directors spent a lot of time thinking about this film, especially for a 2000s film. I was really impressed with how much they thought about, like, what they should show, how they should show it, especially for a comedy.
Oh, exactly.
I was, I always loved this film, and I always thought it aged fairly well, but I hadn't realized, like, the amount of time and effort they put into this.
Yeah, and I think that's why it's aged well, is because... It isn't just random characters.
No.
It's a translation of Prince, or the Frog Prince that we see the princess and protagonist reading throughout the movie. And also the very large character at the end of the credits is China.
Yeah, just China.
So that is one thing that I will say they did put a lot of effort. Some of it might not hold up 100%.
I mean, it was the 2000s.
Yes, but I'll get into... I saw some complaints about this movie.
I can understand that.
But I feel a lot of the complaints were a lot of just trying to hold it up by today's standards of research.
Sure, and that's one of the things that, like, there's still definitely parts of this movie, and we'll talk about them, that now, knowing now what we know, would have gone a different way with either joke or setup. But 9 times out of 10, it hits. It's a solid comedy.
Or the joke or thing is just so minimal that it doesn't really change a whole lot to it.
No, yeah. They managed to make the few pieces that even they questioned themselves at the time. They knew that, like, okay, this is a maybe part, we will minimize this.
Yeah, exactly. But after the credits roll, we open with the princess portrayed by Lucy Liu.
Yes.
Being escorted into the Forbidden City, where she and our currently nameless protagonist, Eyes, meet. Who's portrayed by Jackie Chan.
Of course. Of course. I love the portrayal of the Forbidden City here. As an architect, like, the Forbidden City has always been very interesting to me, because, like, the entire idea behind it, how alluring, how amazing, how, like, oh yes, we're so fancy, we have an entire city you can't see.
It's like a walled city in an RPG.
Yes, it's so cool!
Yeah.
And so, like, now we have a lot more knowledge and, like, photographs and, if you're, nerdy architects like us, diagrams of what that would look like during different time periods versus now. I was fairly impressed with, like, the effort put into it. They could have gone standard kung fu route where you get your red roofs, you get your white walls, and it's just an endless sea of mystery.
Well,
I mean, it's still an endless sea of mystery, but, like, there's some effort there.
Well, here's the thing. They originally were going to build it as a set, but they were given permission to shoot in the Forbidden City.
Ha-ha!
So it is the Forbidden City that you're seeing.
It's amazing!
They got permission because I think, and it's a movie that I actually picked up this movie at Blockbuster in Oregon when I was there. The Last King of China, or The Last Emperor.
The Last Emperor of China.
That had just recently come out, or had just finished filming there. But also, it was a big American production, and Jackie Chan that's the reason they were given permission to shoot there.
Bless the man for letting us glimpse upon the Forbidden City.
Yes, and part of the reason Chan wanted to do this is because of the costuming, the culture, and the comedy, and also he loved westerns.
Is really the perfect combo for this guy.
It is, and the entire production crew tried to be make it as traditional as they possibly could.
Yes.
And they also wanted it to open up with a very traditional opening instead of, like, all of a sudden we're in the Wild Wild West.
And honestly, there is a lot of wild, crazy stuff that goes on in this movie. Mm-hmm. I do appreciate granted, not over, but the somewhat effort to get us from point A to point B to point D. Yeah. Do we miss point C in this movie? A little bit.
A little bit. And there's a very specific part that I think I figured out what they were going for.
Okay.
But it is a very poorly explained portion of the movie.
That would help.
Yes. But we find out that Princess Peipei is being married off to some mongoloid-looking dude.
I love that he looks like a 13-year-old child.
Yes, and I only use the term mongoloid because he looks like a caveman kind of being.
They really went in for the whole, like, this is the most unattractive, like, idea that they could come up with.
Unibrow and just...
Unibrow, he eats with his mouth open,
yep.
He winks at her from across the room in, like, that gross, creepy milady sort of way.
Ancient Chinese milady.
That is this man. This man would have been a weird internet kid in modern day. And, he's definitely too young. Like, not even close sort of thing, where, like, if this kid went into an adult store or an alcohol store, they would immediately be like, no, get out. You are not even 18.
You are not McLovin.
You know.
You do not have the swagger of McLovin.
And I love her, like, sassy dialogue, because it would be easy to write Peipei's character as, like, tragedy is me. Mm-hmm. They give her some sass.
Yeah, no, she is actually, like, weird. For a princess who needs saving, because, yes, that's the plot of it.
Of course it's the plot. Like, she's feisty for a princess who needs saving.
Yeah, like, she does have character.
Like, she leans over to her dad and she's like, if the emperor loves this kid, he should marry him himself.
Yeah. But the plot thickens as the nameless guard later in the evening overhears her planning to leave with her tutor with her English tutor for the wonderful world of America.
Which, it's got that Feifel Goes West vibe. Love it.
Very much so. And as she flees, she drops her book, and the guard... So here's the thing. I don't think Chan's character is trying to stop her. I think he's more so trying to give her book back.
It does feel a little Cinderella-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In a weird way, yes.
Yeah. Whereas instead of the shoe, ma'am, you dropped your library book.
You dropped the Frog Prince. Ma'am,
you're gonna get charged 10 cents every day. This is overdue.
She's a princess. She ain't gotta pay for shit.
That's true.
But I also like how Shanghai Noon just jumps into it without, any elongating the setup. Because, this is a 2-hour movie.
It is a long movie.
But it spends such a short time just establishing the premise and getting everything right from the get-go.
Yes, but it's not so short that, halfway through the movie you forget where people are from.
Yeah, it's not like the Incredible Hulk shoving the first, the entire backstory of Bruce Banner into the credits.
Yeah, the 2 minutes beforehand. Yeah, yeah. It's not that, thankfully.
No. But we cut to the morning where a ransom letter has been left, and that in 2 months, the Emperor must bring 100,000 gold pieces to the mission in Carson City, Nevada, or Princess Pepe dies.
1 billion gold.
Yes, basically. But this, and here's why I also like how quickly it dives into everything. This is very much setting up the East meets West, but with a High Noon showdown.
Yes. We are already psyching ourselves up for a Western.
Yes, which I love the play on words in this movie too.
Oh, it's so good.
Because Shanghai Noon is a play on High Noon.
Yes. Also, have we talked about what Jackie Chan's character's name is yet?
No, we're about to learn it.
Okay, because this is one of my favorite puns in all of cinema history.
Yes. So the Emperor starts choosing people to go on the mission.
Like you do.
And then we finally learn the protagonist's name because he comes up after everyone's selected, and we learn his name is Chon Wang.
Mm-hmm. Boy, that sure sounds like John Wayne.
Yes.
I love it.
But if I remember right, I forgot to write this down. I think it is actually how John Wayne was sold in China and how he's billed is Chong Wang.
Maybe
it's like how we change names of stuff to make it sound easier for us to say.
Definitely. I do remember Jackie Chan talking about how Chong Wayne's name, they flipped his last and first name to make it work for how the Chinese would have introduced last name first sort of thing. And he's like, it works even better that way.
Yeah, just a little bit better. Yeah. But he is not selected because they know he screwed up.
You're not gonna send the screw up all the way to America.
No, but his uncle intervenes and says we should just let him go. He's really trying, and then the Emperor's like, "Yeah, we'll send him to carry the bags or something." It's almost a very Wimplo moment.
It does feel Wimplo-y.
We sent him to save the princess as a joke.
One of these days, you're gonna have to watch Around the World in 80 Days, because Jackie Chan's character in that is strikingly similar to the character he plays in this movie, but instead of being a Western, it's an Englishman.
Better than Arnold Schwarzenegger as an Englishman.
100%.
And for listeners who don't know, now I must inform you, Lads Night last night, we watched a Jackie Chan movie thinking, okay, this could be interesting because it had him and Arnold Schwarzenegger in it.
And you all have not stopped ranting about it since last night.
We watched it. It's been less than 24 hours since we watched it.
The boys came home last night at 11 o'clock and immediately woke me up to tell me about this movie.
Oh, no, I have already slotted this movie at some point for a micro review because I do not want to spend an entire hour and a half or 2 hours talking about it. I just want to talk about it and get it over with.
The first thing my husband told me about when he came home today was not how his day went, not about what he was going to eat for lunch today, but about this movie.
Yeah. It vehemently made us angry by the end of the movie. Yeah.
This isn't that.
No, it's not. It almost feels like it was made as a joke, though.
It might be.
Okay, I will get to Around the World in 80 Days at some point. I do have Disney Plus now, so...
It's mostly because both of these movies are peak Jackie Chan styling where, like, he plays the bumbling sweet idiot who ends up in a situation on accident.
Well, that's a good point, because, I mean, this movie is a fish-out-of-water story.
Yes. And
So.
Jackie Chan does such a good job playing those roles.
Yeah, especially in his American roles.
Yes.
Because this movie has a very more family-friendly feel to Rush Hour.
Yeah.
Even though I'm pretty sure I saw Rush Hour...
Oh, I definitely watched Rush Hour way before I should have.
Yeah, well, it was probably 2001 or 2002 about the time I saw both of these movies.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of us, like, got into Jackie Chan, learned about Rush Hour, watched it, and immediately was like, I shouldn't have, but I enjoyed it.
Well, I mean, my parents also let me watch, like, Beverly Hills Cop and stuff and Lethal Weapon as a kid.
Okay, if you're getting away with Beverly Hills Cop.
I don't remember much of it, but I remember watching it.
That's all that matters.
Granted, I also was in Europe at the time, so...
Oh, well, it doesn't count then.
Yeah, finding these movies was hard, so...
Yeah, I understand that.
But we do cut to 2 weeks later, we're on a train in Nevada. They use a lot of wide shots in this, specifically to mimic the westerns of the 50s. And
there is a lot of different scenes that, if you are not a western lover, will feel like, wow, this is a different vibe. Mm-hmm. But if you're like us, and especially if you're a spaghetti western lover, this is gonna, like, you're gonna be like, oh, they're doing the wide pan thing. Ooh, they got the train out.
Yep. Well, yeah, and while on top of that, so this movie also has similarities to a western that I watched over the weekend called Red Sun. Yes, there's a lot of inspiration from Red Sun in this. I had not known about it until doing research about this movie, and Fair. I mainly watched it for Toshiro Mifune. That is understandable. Yeah. Main reason I watched that movie. Similar tone, but completely different movie. Exactly. But interesting, like, well, especially if you've seen it. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't unsee the influence that it had on Shanghai Noon. And for those who don't know who Toshiro Mifune is as well, we've talked about him in Yojimbo. Yes. So, I apologize for that. I thought I turned off all notifications on that. How dare you? But we're introduced to Roy O'Bannon, who is portrayed by Owen Wilson, in his bumbling gang of picture book reading dudes. Yeah, they're not the brightest gang in the West. No. Nor are they the sharpest or fastest. Nope. But they are in the West. Yes, they are. They are not a good pirate, but you have heard of them. That is exactly how it is. Because that's the thing. Roy O'Bannon's heard of this entire movie. Like, everyone knows who he is, yes. But no one gives a shit. Yes, he is the worst gang of outlaws in the West. No, his gang's not the worst. He's the worst. He is the worst, and thus his gang is terrible, because he messes them up so bad. And one of the gang members is wearing a furry vest as well to look like Mongo from Blazing Saddles. Uh-huh. There's quite a few Blazing Saddles references in this. Yeah, and there's a new guy in the gang, Wallace. Ah, Wallace. A scary name. Yeah, they all just look like, besides Owen Wilson, everyone just looks like some backwoods Mongoloid. Yeah, none of them really look like Western gangsters. None of them look like outlaws. They all just kind of look like dudes who are like, you know what? We should start a gang. Yeah, they're just a ragtag bunch of men. Of idiots. Yeah. But we cut to the train where Wang is at the very back reading the princess's book, and obviously he's not wanted there. The other guards are giving him shit, and his uncle's still being nice. His uncle's trying. Yeah, trying to get them to be nice to him. Yeah, but these guards want nothing to do with this guy. Yep. But it's time for a good old-fashioned stick-up. On this cool train. Yep, where we learn that the new guy, Wallace, is absolutely unhinged. Yeah, he might not be the right fit for this crowd. No, I just love how, like, chaotic this scene is. Oh my gosh, he's like a gremlin in a trench coat. Despite everything else going on, because, like, he starts drawing guns, and O'Bannon's like, no, we don't draw guns. We don't kill people. We ask people for their money nicely. Yes, exactly. Yeah, you're the worst outlaw. No, well, exactly, because while everything's happening, O'Bannon's just trying to be suave and just... Yes, he is. Just trying to hit... He's hitting it with a girl, like...
With one of the ladies?
Yeah, just like, I know you're scared, but it'll be fine. You'll be good. Look, you like the pistol? It's nice. It's fancy. It's engraved.
You want to hang out later?
It's got my initials on it, too.
Ooh.
Ooh, fancy, fancy.
They are two different levels of stupid. It's great.
Yeah, he's just a bandit with a heart of gold.
And no brains.
Yeah. But in all of this, Wallace kills Wang's uncle, who, by the way, does not have a name at all.
No, just Wayne's uncle.
Yeah. But they're off to rob more. They're just like, oh, we killed someone. Peace.
I also appreciate how literally no one else in this train is like even they don't even remotely seem like truly scared.
No.
Like everyone's like, oh god damn it, we've got these guys on.
Another one.
Ah, damn it. So like having one person die was like a legit surprise, feels like, for these poor passengers who are like, he's back. Oh shit, they killed someone this time.
This has been our third stick up this week.
Can you hurry up? I got places to be.
We got 20 cars off back for you guys to take.
Exactly.
Because Wang finds his uncle dead as the outlaws begin disconnecting the car. But I just love how, like, crass and dumb O'Bannon is this whole time. Because he makes this line of, what is this, the Orient Express?
Yes.
Just because he has seen, as far as we're aware, 5 Chinese people in one day.
Which is probably the most this man has ever seen.
Well, maybe. I don't know how far west he's got yet, but...
This guy seems like he robs his own backyard. Let's be real here. He still eats dinner with his mama on Sundays.
If he could.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, O'Bannon's character this whole time is... he feels like, for me, he feels like a modern day O'Bannon would be like, I felt like I was in one of them Panda Expresses.
Yeah, like he's never had anything other than Americana, like hamburgers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing, is he is the stupid character the whole time, whereas like Jackie Chan's character is never really the comedic. Jackie Chan's character is a straight man.
He is definitely the straight man, and I like the two of them together because Owen's character is like the dumb comedy, which by itself can sometimes be a hair bit cringy. But when paired with Jackie Chan's physical humor of like the stunts and the close calls and a lot of the Jackie Chan facial expressions, like they balance each other out really well.
And we also have to think that when this movie's set, it's 1881.
True.
So it's a completely different time frame where, yes, O'Bannon's character would not have been the most educated person in the world. He might have had some cultural experience.
He made it to 3rd grade.
He's seen at least more than 5 Chinese people, and knows what the Orient Express is.
He might not understand, though, that they are Chinese. He has seen an Oriental person.
Yeah. But also, it is of note that Chan did all his own stunts in this movie. There is... As he do. No green screening, so him actually jumping from caboose to train, or train to other detached car, is actually him jumping. And
I like how Jackie Chan's always been very, like, honest and forward. Like, yes, I do my own stunts, especially back in the day. But I will acknowledge that this stunt is very dangerous, and we had to walk through it a few times.
But he also...
also just, like, unleashes.
Well, and then he also said that it was easy to do.
Yeah, and, like, when he's talking to stuntmen, he'll be like, alright, now if I fall, just let me go.
I know what I'm doing.
I know what I'm doing. Whereas everyone else in this movie is like, good day to die, sir. Enjoy yourself.
Well,
not Jackie.
Wilson did 0 of his stunts, and he is very proud that he did 0 of his stunts.
But you know what? That's why they work well together.
Exactly. But since we've talked about Jackie Chan's stunts a little bit here and there, and we talked about his martial arts style, he says his acting is inspired by Buster Keaton and other vaudeville acting.
Makes sense.
So that's why his martial arts, and I actually caught on to this years ago, because I'd gone through a drought without watching anything he'd been in. But I got around to watching Rumble in the Bronx. And I was watching this very specific fight where he's just grabbing like a beer bottle. He's grabbing a pool stick, and it's like...
It's very impromptu.
Exactly. It's very environmental martial arts is what I thought of.
It almost feels like prop in a box comedy, but without like comedy. But there is comedy.
There is.
That's the fun of him, is like, and you can feel his facial expressions being pulled from like the big black and white actors like Charlie Chaplin, where it's a lot of eyebrow, it's a lot of like open mouth expression.
Yeah.
It's big, it's over the top, but it's not modern day over the top. Does that make sense?
Yes. But I also like, because I have seen a handful of his Chinese movies where the way he plays where he caters his performance to the audience.
Yes, he does.
Is quite a bit different.
Yes.
And I don't know. I think it's interesting. It'll be fun to go down some of his rabbit holes.
Oh, definitely.
Also, I apologize if I can't edit this out. We have cicadas this time of year, so...
'Tis the hottest point of the year.
Yeah. But as the O'Bannon gang's trying to make their way out, Wang tries to stop them, but ultimately fails as Wallace tries to take over O'Bannon's gang. Or no, does take over O'Bannon's gang. And Wang is left on the car that's being pushed away. Oh, and also, they've blown their entire payload out of the car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, the worst bandits in the West.
Oh, yeah. And it's not even, like, the reason they blame O'Bannon, but it's not even his fault.
No, but, like, he's the easy target.
Yes. Which, I love how in these fight scenes, I also love that the gang is just stupidly shooting the ceiling randomly,
yes.
even though
it's pew 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 pew.
Exactly, and Wang's been off the ceiling for like a good 30 seconds at this point.
Yes. But just in case.
Yeah. Also, it's the Tex dude. Oh, that's the other thing. Wallace is from Texas, and O'Bannon's like, Texas? They're all nuts down there.
Says the man from Texas.
Exactly. But I do like that despite O'Bannon being a dipshit and, as the director put it, a bandit by name alone.
Yeah, definitely.
He is a good guy, and we can see this as the movie portrays him not shooting Wang when he has the chance.
Yes.
But as we've said, he's just there for the money and the ladies.
It's mostly the ladies.
I mean...
Have you seen Tangled? Have you gotten around to that movie yet?
No, I've not gotten around to Tangled. I have gotten around to the Croods.
Okay, this is a different vibe. He reminds me of the bad guy a little bit. And I say bad guy like he becomes the love interest bad guy of Tangled, where
is it the dude with the horse?
Yeah.
I have played Kingdom Hearts 3.
Okay, so then you
so know... I'm kind of caught up on Disney, but I haven't watched almost everything they've done.
You're caught up on Disney via Kingdom Hearts?
I'm caught up on Dragon Ball Z up until like Budokai Tenkaichi. That's where I'm caught up on Dragon Ball Z, is because of that game.
Okay. Alright, well. Then you know that he is here for the money, the castle, and the ladies.
Yeah.
That's it.
His name's Flynn, right?
It is Flynn Rider, and they never can get his nose right.
What?
We gotta watch this movie. God damn it.
I will at some point. I have the Marvels to get through.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I've been going... Where am I? Yeah, I'm pretty far into the Marvels right now. I'm almost at the end of Phase 2, thank you very much.
Alright.
From here, we cut to Princess Pei being taken to the mining camp full of Chinese immigrants. Can you imagine just plotting this? Like, yes, let's kidnap the princess, tell her it's all lands of milk and honey, and then... boom, insert the Childish Gambino version, or the Chinese cover of Childish Gambino's This Is America.
I mean, that is accurate. What I love is the amount of research that they put into this. They took their time into looking into what the railroad camps looked like, what the mining camps looked like, how those people would have lived and treated, and what they wore. But at no point do they think, boy, it takes a long-ass time to get there. And Pei hasn't, raised a red flag yet?
Well, this is supposed to be at, the frontier, so we're at I don't know if the railroad's connected yet or not.
It has not been connected yet.
Okay, and this isn't a railroad camp, it is specifically a mining camp. So she might not have even come across a railroad camp yet.
I hope for the movie's sake she hasn't, because otherwise Pei is a little more stupid than I thought.
No, I think this, because I don't think she's seen anything else yet, because she's gotten here, and they've said, she says something along the lines of, I thought your benefactor had large amount of land.
Big tracts of land.
Big tracts of land, yes. Yeah, tracts of land.
Yeah.
My mind went completely somewhere else. But yeah, so she's been duped.
Yeah, she has been duped.
And it's revealed that all of this was plotted by some dude who is exiled named Lo Fong.
Who looks like a gangsta.
Oh, yeah. And he's portrayed by Roger Yuan?
Yuan?
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's Roger Yuan. I've seen him in some other stuff.
Yeah.
And he always plays like, at least the ones I've seen, he always plays kind of like a suave criminal. Where he's like, so cool, it hurts you.
Okay.
Like, the ultimate bad guy. The ultimate boss.
A smooth criminal without the flamboyance of Michael Jackson.
Yes, but at the same time, this man has ice in the middle of nowhere. Yes. And oysters.
Okay, well, I'll explain that in a second. So, he's just to give Jan's background, he's been in quite a few action movies before this one, none of which I've seen.
It's okay. That's fair.
But we also get that Andrews has done fucked up. The guy who's kidnapped Princess Pepe.
Yeah, the idiot.
Because he tries to renegotiate and he gets killed with an oyster shell.
Which is badass.
Yes, because in what feels like a very Tropic Thunder, we do not negotiate with terrorists, but much colder. The Chinese do not renegotiate.
No, but also, like, this really solidified... Because, like, he has the look of, like... I think the director called it, like, old school opium den master.
Okay.
Where, like, he's powerful, he's dangerous, but he also feels like a sleek cat.
Yeah, so, actually, to that point, the oysters were shown just to show that he had the decadence of Fong, and also he could get oysters in the middle of a desert, but also he could be deadly with anything.
Yes. He is such a cool bad guy.
He is. Also worth noting, Andrews is portrayed by Jason Connery, son of Sean Connery.
You don't say.
He does not have the same accent as his father.
No, for his own benefit, I am sure.
You know, I still like Sean Connery's accent, though.
I do too, but we only need one Sean Connery accent in the world.
Apparently and I might be wrong on this, from what I have read, it's not just Connery. I think he and both of his brothers have the same accent, but no one else in their area that they're from has that same accent.
Bless them. That is amazing.
Sexy shingles, eh?
But you know what? Like, it's unique. It's specific.
It is a
trademark of the man.
It is this, and I know Buscemi doesn't like this, the Buscemi eyes.
Yes, and I know he doesn't, but at the same time, like, there's so many movies that because it was Buscemi's face, it was so much better.
Many of the Happy Madison movies.
Yes, specifically.
But now we cut back to O'Bannon, who is being consoled by some lovely ladies with some massive tracts of land.
I'm glad you got on.
That is exactly where my mind went when you brought that up.
Good. Very good. Because, yes, and they are beautiful ladies.
Our third grade mentality is merging.
That is also one of my favorite movies of all time.
Which, might I add that these ladies were handpicked by Wilson.
They are lovely.
They are.
I also appreciate, though, that this movie, while it has a lot of, like, adult themes, it manages to be, like, a fairly, like, young teen friendly.
Oh, yeah.
And so, like, while these women are beautiful and there's no doubt in your adult mind that these are brothel ladies, they are all fully dressed.
Oh, yeah.
Just lounging across this man with all of the bustles. All of the petticoats.
It's a very modern version PG of, instead of, like, what was it? I was watching some old, I think it was Hell House or something. I was watching something with my dad, and it's rated PG from the 60s or 70s.
Oh, so G.
No, PG.
Oh, gotcha.
It was at that era. But full frontal nudity.
I mean, you've seen it once in your life, at least.
Multiple times. Thank you very much. I'm not that much of a shut-in.
Yeah, this one does the other direction and is like, the beautiful ladies of the night in full clothes.
Yeah. I'll take your medicine, honeys. It says some stupid shit
It's
along
so
that
dumb.
line.
And even these ladies, who clearly know him very well, are like, oh, look at the idiot. Look at the sweet boy.
You know what he feels like? He feels like the very stereotypical depiction of men when they get sick. Of like needing to be babied and pampered.
I have a cold. Help
Feed
me.
me soup, please.
Yes.
Yes.
He does feel like that sort of character.
Yeah, very much so. But it is all a dream.
Aww.
And he is buried up to his neck, and he's being pecked at by vultures.
I love that the director explains how they did this scene, because being buried alive is problematic from a realistic standpoint.
Yeah.
And while vultures are one of the several birds that we do train for TV and movie, they are still a wild bird.
Mm-hmm.
And you cannot guarantee a wild bird will not take off your ear. So what did they do? They put chicken behind the man's head.
And little bits of meat they tied to him.
Yeah, so these poor sweet vultures are just over here nibbling away while he is buried up to his neck in a barrel, and then every once in a while they have to put a little tent over his head so the mosquitoes don't eat him alive.
A less traumatic, the birds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mostly because, like, vultures tend to be fairly sweet.
Yeah,
More so,
they're just ugly.
They are, bless their little hearts. They go into this Western movie real well.
They do. They're a Western staple.
They really are. You can't have a Western without someone being plucked by a vulture.
That is a lie. There are so many Westerns.
Yeah, but would it not...
A stereotypical Western.
True. But at least having one sitting on a branch somewhere in the distance.
Oh.
Which is definitely not what a vulture sounds like.
100% accurate bar calls from Nico.
You and Universal Studio both.
About as good as the Wilhelm scream.
Another
Western trope.
Beautiful.
But it is Wang to the rescue.
Of course. Who else?
Which, I mean, so O'Bannon's entire situation, it feels very much so like what Marcus Park says a lot in last podcast on the left. It's just another example of being careful. Be careful who you pretend to be. As like,
yes,
O'Bannon's gangs is real outlaws, and O'Bannon is not.
Yeah, he had a good run pretending to be one,
but it's less tragic than Tupac.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Also, as good-natured as we've seen Wang up to this point, he's a bit of a dick.
I kind of like it, though, because it balances him out from being just, like, a goody-two-shoes Labrador sort of person into, like, a more rounded person. Mm-hmm. Like, he's had a hard time. His uncle's dead, damn it.
Yeah, I get that he's grieving, but, like, giving him only chopsticks once he gives him directions to Carson City.
I think that's hilarious.
Don't talk, just dig. And also, I mean, it's a nice way to start building up their relationship because the director wanted he was inspired by Sergio Leone movies for their relationship of like how
they gotta work for it.
Shit, I'm blanking on their names. Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. Clint Eastwood and Tico.
I don't remember how to pronounce it.
I don't know. The guy who's supposed to be the ugly.
Yes.
How their relationship is. Back and forth being dickheads to each other.
And eventually the dickheads bond over their dickheadedness. Yeah, like
I will never bond over you, Charlie.
He says lies, you love me.
I do. But now Wang is on his way to quote unquote Carson City. In some very Lord of the Rings style mountain climbing shots.
I love it though. It feels so epic.
It does. Which I also like that him climbing one mountain and seeing all the others. Like the West is just giving him the middle finger.
Which is the most accurate part of this whole Western.
Yes. I'm surprised there was no dysentery.
You know, now that you mention it, everyone in this movie is surprisingly healthy.
Actually, yeah. Minus maybe the Chinese workers.
Who are still doing better than I would assume.
Yeah. Yeah, just a bit.
History's a bitch.
But we cut to the plains where Wang is lost as all hell.
Oh, yeah.
But gets involved in saving a Native American kid, from being killed by another tribe.
We get a really cool action scene with Jackie Chan bouncing off the trees, doing some cool flips. There's a lot of catching the tomahawk, throwing the tomahawk back. Yes. So cool!
Which I love that was the oh shit moment of that's where the comedy is in in the action scenes. And then on top of that, so first of all, the director wanted this to be a scary fight.
And I mean, to an extent, it kind of is. Mm-hmm. When you stop and think about, okay, these two guys are good enough to catch the tomahawk back. Mm-hmm. Oh, shit. You do get that, but at the same time, you are so amazed by the fight scene.
You guys got stuck in a tree.
They did get stuck in a tree. Been there, understand, but not cool.
Okay. All right.
You can't look cool being stuck in a tree. It's not possible. You either look like a scared cat, a stuck raccoon, or a real big idiot.
Which one were you?
I have been both the cat, the raccoon, and the idiot at different points in my life. Most recently, the raccoon.
I have had a fear of heights, so I do not climb trees normally.
I have been climbing trees for a very long time, and shoe choice is essential in making it back down the tree.
Yes. Oh. But it is also the first martial arts we see of the movie.
Yeah, and it's not a terribly long scene, but it doesn't feel rushed.
No. But here is also where, some of my... I won't call them issues, just my stupid brain asking, why the hell are we doing this? Granted, I know why we're doing it. It's a 2000s movie.
There you go. That's the answer.
But why is he speaking Chinese to a kid who obviously is not Chinese?
I mean... I feel like it's a little bit of a play on the whole, you just go with, the first language, your best language you try out and hope for the best.
Okay. Probably he's obviously aware they're not American, so they don't speak, they might not speak English, so his next logical leap is Chinese.
Well, also, Jackie Chan aside, Chong Wang probably doesn't know a ton of English.
True.
So, he at least trying.
I want to believe that he learned his English from the Princess and the Frog on his way over.
I would 100% believe that. Between Princess and the Frog and his uncle probably giving him some tutor lessons, I don't know if he has learned the phrase, "Are you lost, small child?" in English yet.
Yeah. Or are you alright?
Yeah.
Can I take you to your mommy and daddy?
Yeah. How do you do that without knowing the language and not seeming creepy? And this child just watch you beat up two men.
That's exactly how you do it. You beat up the two men that are trying to kill him.
Alright, yeah.
Not just two men. I think there's 4 total.
Oh yeah, there is more than 2.
Yeah, because the comedy in it too is it's so situational because he falls over a pine tree and they hack away a couple times and then it comes back and smacks them.
Yes, it's very good. Delightful.
Yeah. I mean,
it feels vaudeville-y plus kung fu-y.
Yes, and I also like that it leans to that he's not... It also degrades away from, the purity we saw of him in China, where he's not below biting a man or picking up a bone to fight.
Yes, a nasty, smelly bone.
Yeah, which was gross.
Which was not a prop. They found that sucker on the ground.
Fun.
So sanitary.
I mean, health standards were much, much different than they are today, Chris.
Oh boy, were they ever. I remember those times well.
But Wang thinks he's won, but he turns around in the very classic Western moment to find that there's a bunch of Sioux on the ridge, or as far as we're aware now, Native Americans. We haven't been told they're Sioux.
All on horseback, ready to ride.
Yep, and he's just oh, shit.
Ah, goddammit.
Yeah, but...
Small child to the rescue, don't worry, though.
Yes, small child to the rescue, told him he's a good warrior, and he's brought him to the group. But this is where I kind of want to go into a little bit of the historical stuff, where I think the movie didn't explain itself well enough.
I understand.
I think there is an actual explanation to it, I just don't think the movie explained it. Because this was some of the complaints of, if he's going to Nevada, why is he in Sioux territory?
Yes.
So, important note to the larger historical context of this all. This movie, like I said, is set in 1881. I won't get too far into this. The Sioux at this time were fragmented to reservations in South Dakota.
Of course.
And were in the process of being forcefully assimilated into the United States.
We remember and are learning more every day.
Yes. And as well as at least they did get the right of them clashing with the Crows.
Okay.
At this point, the Crow Indian Reservation was mainly whittled down to Montana.
Okay,
so
a little bit of a distance.
Yeah, so it wasn't really like the Wild West as we think of it. The reservations were pretty whittled down by this point.
Yes. Yeah.
And here's what I think, why we can explain this. I think Wang is so off course, he's wound up way away from Nevada.
You know what? I could totally believe that.
Yes. But the movie doesn't explain it that way.
Yeah.
So we have to take the assumption that this is some stereotypical Native American play, which there is some of that. But I think what the intention was that he's so way off course
that he's like super lost.
He is absolutely fucking lost because he was given
he's in like
wrong directions.
Well, not just wrong directions. He's like multiple states away.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I like that explanation a lot.
I think that's what they were going for, especially with all the historical context that supposedly went into making this movie.
They talk about the experts that they brought in to double check some of their stuff, and like especially costuming, they spent a lot of effort and time on that.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like too big of an object for them to have like fully blown over. But yeah, they don't explain it well.
No, not at all. But like we said, he's back. He's in the gang now.
Yeah, I mean, if they take him in, no questions asked.
And I love this little bit of them saying, now he says it's slower like it will help, which is a nice play on like Rush Hours.
Yes.
Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth moment?
Yeah.
Like, it's very, very much that moment.
I also appreciate that the directors made like an effort to say like, we tried to make fun of like the American stereotype more than anybody else in the movie, and that is such an American stereotype of like, do you understand me?
Well, I mean, to be fair, I will say one of the phrases that I've learned, at least in German, is "Sprecht langsam."
Say it slower.
Longer.
Yeah. I think that's one of the ones that everyone will learn in a new languages.
Yeah.
I think I learned like, give me a minute, I'm slow in a couple languages back in high school.
That could go one of two ways.
But you know what? It worked. People talk a lot slower to you.
But Wang is given a pipe to shut him up, which
it works.
Tad stereotypical drug scene.
A little bit.
I didn't do too much digging since, one, I didn't have the time for it, and I'm not the most knowledgeable about it.
And also this movie, while they did do a good deal of research, at no point is like trying to make an effort to be accurate.
No.
They know it's a parody on a lot of stuff, and I do think they took a lot of liberties with that.
Yeah.
This scene is one of them.
Yeah, and I mean, the director said, like, they had time for, like, one drug scene, but they had to make it quick.
Yes.
Which this is it. Because in the morning, Wang wakes up in a teepee with a horse fucking drawing.
I do think that's hilarious.
Which they said, yeah, that was a low blow, but it was funny. And the chief's daughter is spooning him.
I like how he has accidentally married this woman.
Yeah, real quick, her credit in the movie is Indian wife, but she does have a unofficial name.
Yes.
/ official, because the director did give her a name of Falling Leaves, and she is portrayed by Brandon Merlin, who, this is her only role in a movie ever. They chose her because of her face.
I mean, she is very striking.
She is. But she was also a local rodeo star, so she knew her way around a horse and lassoing and doing her own stunts.
Yeah, apparently all of the lassoing that her character does in this movie is just her.
Yeah.
She didn't have a stunt double for that.
Why?
I mean, she's a rodeo star.
Jan didn't need a stunt double.
No.
And look at it. Look at him, just martial arts jumping off of shit.
And honestly, for someone who this is their only movie credit, I really liked her in this movie.
Yeah.
I thought her character and, like, the way she acted, great. I loved her.
I low-key wish she had made a comeback for Shanghai Nights.
I kind of do too, but I can understand why it would have been weird.
Yeah.
Because that movie is set in Britain, if I remember correctly.
It is.
Yeah, that would have been a little Pocahontas 2-esque.
But
which was not a good movie.
I think they would have done well with it, though.
I think this movie would have done better than Disney. Let's be true.
Yeah. Granted, I did not rewatch Shanghai Nights. I think I only watched it once. And
that's enough.
The only thing I can remember is Spotted Dick.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, yeah. You remember the important part.
Yeah, because I was in middle school by that point, so it's a dick joke.
That's the time you're supposed to watch that movie.
And speaking of dicks, what is up with the tribal post-coitus cheer?
Oh, I think it's hilarious.
I think it's great too,
I think
but
it's absolutely hilarious.
I don't know, it just feels so weird of like...
It feels low blowy.
Yeah, can you imagine you and Brian coming out of your honeymoon room for the first time and just your entire family
would be
cheering?
Very awkward. However, it does so strongly remind me of back when I ran cross country, and like if someone like right before a race especially was like, oh god damn it, I gotta use the restroom. There's all porta potties, of course, because we're in the middle of nowhere. And so the entire team, all like 50 of us, would like make a tunnel when they came out and be like, yay, as they left the porta potty. Like it feels like that, where it's like, this isn't a real ritual. They're teasing the new guy.
Y'all had porta potties?
At the nice races we did. We were a big team. We were a big school.
We shit in the cornfields.
We would have been frowned upon as many of the cornfields were donated to us.
I don't know what the Italian farmers would have thought.
I don't know either. We didn't have the luxury of the privacy. This was a lot of like on-school property sort of thing.
Oh, yeah, we did pretty much all of our training off campus.
No, we were like in the field behind the school.
Yeah, no. Well, we were in the roads and the mountains behind the school.
See, yours sounds much fancier than mine.
Oh, dude. You guys might have thought you had bad hills. We had a fucking mountain to climb up.
Oh yeah, no, we didn't have any hills. But we thought we had more hills than the Kansas kids, so we were always like, yeah, we're winning.
Oh, the Midwest.
Ah, yes.
But Falling Leaves is sent to watch over Wang as he's given a horse as a wedding gift.
I love this horse.
And I love the little jab that at least it isn't a white guy.
Yes.
So
I also appreciate that they look at this man and they go, honey, you should go make sure he doesn't die.
Yeah. No, exactly. That's exactly what it is. It's just like, we kind of feel sorry for you, dude.
Yeah, she's clearly the more capable. And then on top of that, the horse they give him is like the most trained horse on this planet.
Oh, yeah. Well, and on top of that, so when we talk about comedy and we love like long payoffs.
Yes.
Yeah, at least it isn't a white guy is the longest payoff in this movie.
It really is.
And it's such a subtle payoff that doesn't work until the end, which we'll get into.
Yes, yes.
But back at the mine, Princess Peipei is shown how weak she really is.
It is an interesting, like, put you in your place sort of thing.
But it's fitting to show why she can't run away or doesn't feel the need to run away.
No, I like it because at least we get a like solid explanation behind it. It's one of my biggest pet peeves in like the rescue the princess trope of, well, I've put like the Princess Peach trope of, well, she's in the room over there. I didn't bother locking it because like where's she gonna go?
Yeah,
she's too dumb to leave. No, Princess Peipei is like a real person given real reasons to not leave.
Yeah, she has not invited anyone to rescue her with a fanciful dessert.
No, nor has she shot an arrow through a window hoping that a knight will save her. Like, she thinks she's on her own.
Yeah, which shows her as a strong character, but also Fong as a real douchebag.
Yeah. Again, slowly turning into a very good bad guy.
He is a very, very good bad guy.
He's a very good bad guy.
With, like, how little screen time he has, though, too.
But that kind of helps, because it kind of leaves a lot to your imagination on, like, how bad he is.
I know why, because it makes him feel like a Bond villain.
He does. He feels Bond villainy.
Yeah, we get, like, the little bits of, like, how evil this guy is. We get zero redeeming qualities to him at all.
Yeah, he doesn't even have, like, a pet cat that he loves.
No, not at all. No Mr. Beaglesworth.
No Mr. Beaglesworth.
But we also get a quick update of the other guards who are being helped by settlers who mistake them as Jews for some reason.
The director kind of explained this joke. I feel like they had some word puns that they felt like they wanted to include because they had them. I don't get them. It's not the worst.
It's stupid.
It's in the movie. I don't know.
I don't know enough about Jewish migration to the U.S., so...
I don't know much about... Yeah, like, this is one of the, like, parts of history that it got left out of my textbook for sure.
Oh,
I mean, most of this was left out of my textbook, let's be very clear, but, like, haven't gotten around to educating myself on yet.
Yeah, I will be probably in the near future because, one, I also have a Yiddish movie to watch. One that, I guess, it's like from the 20s that's considered like the best piece of Yiddish cinema.
Ooh.
Which, I mean, is a weird topic like you don't think about.
That's true,
But I got like 5 minutes into Shoah the other day, and I did not have the emotional capacity to watch it at the time.
Understand.
And I've already learned some stuff about the Holocaust that I was not aware of.
And you feel like you know a topic until you don't.
Yeah, there's a lot, so I'm...
Exactly.
Yeah. We'll leave that there.
We'll get to
it. It's a whole other topic for another...
It will be a different movie.
Yes. But now Wang and his wife have stumbled upon some town where O'Bannon is chilling.
Bless the man. He hanging.
Falling Leaves Follow Him was actually inspired by Outlaw Josie Wales.
Yes, yep.
But I like how everyone looks at him, or looks at Wang, because he's this weird mashup hybrid that they've never seen before, because he's...
And he almost feels like he's like, what did the cat dragged in, like, stumbled out of the desert.
Yeah, because he's not Native American, but he's not...
He's got, like, bits of jewelry and face paint on from when he was hanging out with his wife's family. But he still has some of his original robes that he had when he came over.
Yeah.
Still on. But also, he hasn't showered in a very long time. And he looks a little bit like he's been rolling around in the dust.
I wonder how often they really did shower back then.
Showering?
Bathe. Sorry.
There we go. Bathe. I think it depends on who and what time of year.
And when it rained.
We are in the desert.
Kind of. I don't know if we're in the desert just yet at this point, because it is kind of lush around them.
It is, but it feels like that, like, old Western, like, this is the town. The town's got water.
Yeah, it feels kind of like Western Colorado a bit, where it's a little bit drier than Eastern. It's not prairie.
Yeah, and, like, the town would have been where there's, like, more water, and then everybody else, you get dry.
Yeah.
It dusty.
Yep. And, also he's talking to his horse.
I love his horse so much. I like that they have handprints on the horse, kind of like the Just Married car.
Oh, God.
Like when you put handprints on the back of the, like, new couple's car, you put, like...
No, I don't know this, actually.
Okay, well, one of the traditions of American-style weddings is that the two parties, the bride and the groom's two parties, decorate and, like, spoof the car that the bride and groom are going to get away in.
I know the Just Married in the cans part. I didn't know about the...
So the cans is kind of an old school thing.
Yeah.
The newer thing to do, which this is 2000s, would have been about the right time period for the joke to hit, is you take window chalk and, like, you put Just Married all across the back.
Mm-hmm.
You like, they'll put two handprints, and, like, if you're cute, you get little lips, and then, like, some dude will be like, ha, but...
Sounds stupid as hell.
It is stupid as hell. But that is the vibe that this little horse is giving off. Bless him.
Yeah, you're not wrong. The horse is... Actually, the horse is the surrogate fuck trophy.
He is. I also like that the horse, while never in the movie given a name, the director decided should be named Fido, because he follows Jackie Chan around like a dog.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. I caught some spoilers of the new Pokemon. There's a new Pokemon named Fido.
Yes, it is a fried doe. Yes. He's a little doe puppy. He's adorable.
I hate it so much.
He's so fucking cute. I love him.
I
would kill for Fido.
But we also get a little bit of the good old-fashioned, we don't like your kind around here
It's
mentality.
not a Western if you don't have that.
No, not at all. Because it leads right into a... time for a bar brawl.
I love this bar brawl.
Which apparently Chan didn't understand bar brawls despite him loving Westerns.
I think he was like backwards on like when in the movie this was gonna happen. And so like when they're like, all right, you're gonna saunter into town and immediately get beat up, and he's like, I haven't done anything yet.
Well, I know he also had to be taught a lot of things of Western. So okay, here's what I think it is. I think it's how I can relate to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's how I'll watch like samurai and Yakuza movies, not 100% knowing everything about it.
You just enjoy it. You're along for the ride.
I'm along for the ride is what
Yes.
it is. I think that's how Chan was for Westerns.
That's honestly, that's the best way to watch a Western.
Yeah, granted, I've gotten better with samurai movies, but even less so with Yakuza movies. But also, this is our first use of modern music, and they used it to make it feel updated and not super old-timey.
I kind of like it, though, because it's like a little bit on the nose, but because the whole soundtrack isn't just modern music, it feels special. Like, it stands out as like, oh, this is a big fight.
Yeah, because I think it's this and one other scene that uses modern music.
Yeah.
Which also, there's the reference to You Bounce Back Fast, Kimosabe.
Yes.
Which made up for Lone Ranger and way before Lone Ranger's time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I like how it's in there, despite the fact that none of these people would actually have known Lone Ranger.
No, not at all. Because it also kind of like gives like that weird little bit of movie lore and like world credence to like another movie of like, oh, Kimosabe was a term before
Yes.
Lone Ranger.
I also appreciate, though, that in this world's version of history, everyone has seen the Lone Ranger.
Yes. But I also love the line of, you gave me bad direction. No, I gave you wrong direction.
Haha.
Eat shit.
Puns.
But, I mean, Roy's also outed for cheating, so they're kind of even on each other.
Yeah.
And I also think this is a nod to the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yes.
The triangle punch-off.
Uh-huh. Yes.
Just them sitting there taking it.
Oh, it's so good.
And I also enjoy this part, too, because Roy can kind of hold himself.
Like, he's not the worst.
No.
But he's not good.
But it's also women to his rescue.
Oh, I love that he has, like, a little gaggling of followers who are like, no, don't hurt the baby.
Exactly. It's not just here. It's like multiple times in this movie. It's women to his rescue.
Yeah. He is what he thinks is a suave fellow and what they see as a poor little lost child.
Exactly. Also, I love the random cob smoking hunchback that just
in the background.
In the background and in between cut, just sitting there like giggling, like.
Honestly, because he feels like my brother's kind of humor, I like that he's just like thrown in there. He's not even like really part of this movie. He's just like, get him in there. Get the guy in there.
I thought for a second before you said brother's humor, I thought you said this is kind of like my brother.
I mean, if he could, he would.
I am aware of your brother's semi-cave troll nature.
He would appreciate the idea.
But the law shows up, and Wang and O'Bannon are blamed for everything.
I mean, as one does.
To be fair, it is kind of their fault.
They are beating people up.
Yeah, but they get sent to jail.
I mean, it's old Western jail, so it's not real problematic.
No, it's just a room behind a desk.
Yes. Yeah.
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 A room with enough of a walkway for them to see the bars.
Yeah, I appreciate that this jail doesn't look like it holds a whole lot of folk.
No, it's a small town.
Small town jail.
What you think they say is Carson City?
True.
You city folk.
And I like this scene upcoming because this is like prime Jackie Chan just throwing in bits of his own knowledge to be like, what if in the movie we did this?
Oh god, yeah. No, this whole scene. So, one, I like that O'Bannon is trying to calm him down, showing O'Bannon is a good guy.
Yeah, I mean he's a sweetheart at heart.
Also tired of Wang just saying, "Let me out, let me out."
Yeah, it's like the one phrase he learned. He's always like, "Now, if you ever get put in jail, this is the phrase."
But Wang also, in a weird way, serves like the male equivalent of Falling Leaves.
Yes,
where he is the male companionship of trying to like put him in his place of like the sun doesn't rise here; it sets here. Again, tying back to his ignorance.
Yes.
Which, I mean, it has its charm, especially because of where the movie's set.
Yeah.
Because, of note as well, this is 16 years after the Civil War, and Japan had only been forced open 28 years prior, so...
Real recent.
Yeah. Also, for more movie references, The Last Samurai is set 5 years before this movie.
You know, I love time, because none of it feels like it's in the correct spot.
No, like, we watch stuff and it's like, The Last Samurai feels like a very archaic movie compared to Shanghai Noon.
Which both feel so old, so in the past, and yet not really.
No, really not. I mean, conceivably, we are 2 to 3 generations. I was watching one of, what's his name? He's a Canadian YouTuber, JJ. He does, like, a lot of political and cultural stuff, but, like, he was doing something, like, conceivably of, like, hey, we have people who are tied to, like, the Civil War still.
Yeah, like, the, degrees of how far back stuff is really is not as far back as you think.
No, not at all. We are living in very progressive times.
Yes.
Yeah. But also, I love that O'Bannon, at first he does seem like he is a nice guy. Let's just establish that. He is a nice guy. But he's also kind of a kiss-ass.
Oh, 100%.
Because he forgets all the bad blood right as he's told about gold. Oh, also to mention, the directors brought up that running into O'Bannon should have been a surprise because he's just so pig-headed that he would dig himself out with chopsticks.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. But despite all of this, it is really much Falling Leaves to the rescue.
I mean, they like to think that they were going to rescue themselves, but let's be real. She is the hero here. They
were kind of, to a point. Which, while the piss shirt is gross.
It is gross.
I love the line.
It is historically proven.
Yes. But I love the line, wet shirt don't break, not piss shirt bend bar.
I also appreciate that O'Brien's character is over here giving one single finger's worth of help.
No, he's not even giving any help.
No,
he is giving help. He has calmed down Wang, and he has let him think the situation through.
And then he walks over and puts a single finger on Wang's hand as he turns it as help. One single finger.
I did not catch that.
It is a single finger's worth of help.
I do not blame him.
No, at first it's definitely like I don't want to touch the pea shirt. And then once he sees that it's working, he's like, oh, you got this, I'm helping. Not helps at all. Proceeds to let Wang do all of the work.
Starship Trooper, I'm doing my part.
Yes.
Yes.
But who's doing all the real work here? The wife.
Wang too. Wang is doing work.
Wang is doing work, but his wife has a much better plan.
Yes. And honestly, like, I don't know why, I forget how jacked Jackie Chan is.
Oh, yeah, especially 2000s Jackie Chan.
Yeah, like when he took off his shirt, like, yeah, it's
ripped.
Like, dude, you have some fucking pythons, man. Holy shit.
I'm telling you, it's the costuming.
Yeah.
They make him look like such a nice, sweet man. Not that he could kill you in a single punch.
To be fair, if he and Schwarzenegger had been in a movie in the 2000s, it would have been... Mwah.
It would have been eye candy.
Not the... garbage that was Iron Mask. I will keep bringing that up because it's fucking
I mean, they were in a movie together. It just wasn't what you hoped for.
I don't know if it was even really a movie.
That's fair. That's fair.
There's Ardu, yeah.
It was like a slideshow of nonsense.
Stuff. There was pretty ladies, that's all I'll say.
You know what? That's all you need sometimes.
I wish there was more pretty ladies.
Cut out the parts with Schwarzenegger and Jackie Chan. Just put the parts of the ladies together.
No, I was cool with those parts. Cut out everything else in between. Them leaving the movie and then coming back, and it's a bunch of pretty ladies.
Okay, alright.
Yeah. But also I love how immediately O'Bannon is smitten.
Oh, instantly.
Oh, yeah.
As his character would say, love at first sight.
I think he would try and use something more eloquent.
Oh, he would definitely.
Love at first sight sounds too modern for what he would say.
He would have some piece of poetry bullshit up his ass for this.
I pulled this from Chaucer, but I think it fits perfectly.
And it's not Chaucer at all.
No, it's just some bullshit he wrote. That's not even rhyming.
No, it doesn't rhyme.
But we cut to the morning, and we get more of O'Bannon's bullshit of, this is where your folks would say sayonara.
I do appreciate, though, that when the director explains that it's a play on words, like, it is a funny pun.
It's not really a play on words, it's a play on his ignorance of, like, the difference between China and Japan.
Yes.
O'Bannon would be a fucking weeb.
He would be a fucking weeb.
Because what, he tells Wang he's got, Chippewa or nobility in spades.
Which makes no sense.
No. Which he volunteers himself in his good old ways. It has nothing to do with gold.
No, what a noble man.
But he volunteers himself to be Wang's guide through the West.
How sweet and noble of him.
Oh yes, and they seal it with spitting in the hands to seal the deal.
It feels like two kids getting ready to do some fuckery.
Yes, which I did have to look this up because I've been curious. I never looked it up before, but spitting in your hands, it's basically a light blood brother pact.
Yes, yeah.
I did not know that.
I mean, if you didn't have time to sit around carving bits out of your hand to shake blood and get nasty germs together, you could just spit.
Get your mouth germs together.
Much less hazardous.
It's like kissing without the gay shit.
Yeah.
I say that as a joke. I'm not being mean. It's just being very stereotypical of the 1880s.
This was very 1880s nonsense.
But yeah, I do also like that he spits in his hand, and then Wang spits in O'Bannon's hand.
I do too.
It's a nice little.
Like, what the hell are you doing?
Exactly. Like, but it also is like the cultural differences of like, we wouldn't spit in our own hands.
Very true.
Kind of thing.
It is nasty.
Yeah. But we cut to the town where the town.
I was gonna say.
Or where
the town.
Yeah, where they've just left, and the Jewish travelers are just behind Wang and O'Bannon.
They're making good time.
And also Wallace's old gang arrives.
Surprise! Said no one.
Also love the shalom.
Yes.
And they just kind of bow as well. It's like, all right.
Yeah, why not?
Where we also learn that Wang is given the name of Shanghai Kid, which is...
It's a badass name.
Dope outlaw name.
Pretty good outlaw name.
Also, never give yourself a nickname.
No, it does make you look stupid. But if you get a bad nickname, are you allowed to change it?
No. Because if you try and change it, they will make fun of you. I, on the other hand, for Twitch and streaming, the Slime Lord fits me perfectly.
Very good, very
and
good.
I gave that to myself.
I feel bad for all of the criminals in Florida who now have nicknames such as the Night Pooper.
Hey, it fits the crime.
It does fit the crime.
But now we cut back to Wang and O'Bannon, who are having a bit of bonding moments. O'Bannon comments that Chong Wang is a bad cowboy name.
It is not a typical cowboy name.
No.
That's for sure.
But also we get the bit of never touch my cue, and which is also, for me, just another play on the Rush Hour bit of never touch a black man's radio.
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. But I did a little bit of digging on this. When this movie is set, we're still in the Qing Dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
I think I said that right. I apologize. And this hairstyle was compulsory for all males.
You had to have it.
Yes. Because as well, it was a way to identify who of the Han Chinese were refusing to accept the new dynasty. And so therefore it was kind of a way of segregation and identifying.
Yep. And
it was punishable by execution for treason.
And also, if you didn't have it, you couldn't get back in.
Yes.
A little bit of a problem.
Yeah, just a bit. I just wanted to give a little bit of context for that because it was a little confusing to me of like it's kind of like how in North Korea now you've got like the 20 hairstyles.
Yes, the approved list.
Yes.
That all look almost the same.
Yeah, pretty much.
Very similar.
So yeah, it's that same mentality that we're seeing from this era.
Yes.
But yeah, we're so far removed from it that I thought it was necessary to explain.
Well, and also like the directors clearly like were expecting, I think, their audience to know a little bit more than...
Oh god, no.
Well, okay, I say that because they talk in length about how they had done research about this, and, like, how they had been like, okay, well, we know what costuming needs to look like, we know what the different hairstyles need to look like, we know, like, roughly time periods, this would have been important to him. I don't think the importance of it made it to the general audience.
Yeah, it's kind of in the same way, like, they put it, there was attention to detail, but they kind of forgot to explain why Wong is in Sioux territory.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. But it's time for everyone's favorite little bit of movie style. It's a montage scene.
I love a montage.
Which, it's such an odd montage because, I mean, it's broken training and stretching. It's a lot of stretching.
But you know what it makes me think of? The really dumb Dragon Ball Z training.
A bit.
Where it's like, this is all useless. If I had gone on the internet and Googled when to skip these episodes, I would have. But now that I'm here, we might as well all do yoga together.
Yeah.
Do some calisthenics, really get the limbs going.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. But on top of that, O'Bannon is trying to woo Falling Leaves.
Adorable. He's such an idiot. Bless him. And also, Falling Leaves is way too good for him.
Yeah.
She's so much better than both of these men.
Actually, she's too good for both of them because they both kind of are like lost puppies.
They are both lost puppies, and she has her shit together.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an independent woman who just happens to have a man.
And is okay with it.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's entertainment.
That's why they're kept around.
That's why they keeps him.
But actually, that's probably right because their training is so childish of like jumping over sticks.
And like their stretching is literally like windmills and like touching over to the side.
I call this reach for the sky.
Yeah, like it's not even like real stretching.
It kind of is.
I mean, it's stretching for very not limber people.
No.
Like, it is implied that O'Brien's character can barely touch his own toes.
Oh god, Hey, do not diss that.
Look.
I can't touch my toes. Shut up.
I can put my hands behind me. If I felt like it, my foot could go behind my head.
I've never been flexible.
I have been way too flexible. It is a curse.
I need to bug your husband about stretches.
Oh, he can't stretch worth a shit. Man can barely tie his own shoes.
I know he can't, but remember when he was like in a stretching phase for like half a year?
Yes, I do, vividly. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
Recently he has learned about the idea of hip stretching, where you like move your knees so that you can touch your own feet. And recently he's attempted that like all of 3 times. And that's going to fix his terrible, like he is as flexible as an iron rod. But the hip stretching's gonna fix that, don't worry. Says he.
Your husband has a lot in common with O'Bannon.
He really does. He really does.
I love you, Brian.
But you are a lot like O'Bannon. Yeah, now that you mention it. Yeah.
We can make fun of him because he doesn't listen to this.
That's very true.
But we would still say it to his face.
Oh, I'm gonna call him after this.
But now it is on to Carson City, where O'Bannon is trying to teach Wang, howdy, partner.
It is adorable.
Yes, very adorable.
Wang is teaching him useful life skills like stretching and how to beat people up, and he's teaching him useful life skills like how to not get punched in the face.
Yeah, pretty much. But they also find out they are wanted.
I love this part.
And Roy is very upset that they have not given him a nickname.
No, it's just his own name, because everyone knows him.
Yeah, well, and also just like he's talking about like how he's gonna market it to the ladies that he's a wanted man, and he has less of a bounty on his head than Wang.
And then doesn't he bitch about how they didn't draw him right?
Yeah. Well, and on top of that, like, to be fair, he didn't think it was a good drawing of him.
No, it was not a good drawing of him. But I like how, compared to the sketch of Jackie Chan looking angry and mean, like, Jackie Chan's sketch doesn't really look like Jackie Chan.
No.
But his really doesn't look like him.
No, not at all. And I love that Wang's complaint is that Not even from Shanghai. Which, to be fair, Shanghai Kid is a cooler sound than the Beijing Kid.
Both are cool. Shanghai is cooler.
Because the sh has a harsher sound than b, the Beijing Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But both would be cool names. One is cooler than the other, though.
I'm sticking with Shanghai.
Oh, no, I fully agree. But if your options are Shanghai, Beijing, and O'Brien, I'm going to go with Beijing.
O'Bannon, thank you very much.
Excuse me. Yeah, they don't even give that guy a nickname. They could have called him the Golden Retriever Kid.
I just remembered that Owen Wilson's in Marley and Me.
Yeah, yes.
Which I haven't seen that still.
It's so sad. It's so fucking sad.
I will get to it at
God
some point.
Damn it, that movie ruins you.
But it is posse hunting time. As we find out that the posse is led by the psychotic killer Marshal Nathan Van Cleef, who is portrayed by a dude who has a cool ass name too.
He does.
Xander Berkeley.
Who could have been a real outlaw, and I would have been like, yes, that is an outlaw man.
Yes. It is also an homage to the spaghetti western actor Lee Van Cleef, who is Sentenza or Angel Eye in The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yes, he is.
I also love that Wang does not understand the concept of a bad guy.
No, he really doesn't, bless him.
Which...
Such a sheltered little child.
He is.
But at the same time, like, he was a guard.
He was living in the Forbidden City.
That's true, there can't be that many bad guys in the Forbidden City, when literally everyone in the Forbidden City is, like, guards.
Or royalty. Yeah,
there's not that many bad guys there.
Yeah.
Hopefully. That is the entire point of the Forbidden City.
We know of royalty.
That's true.
Yeah. But, I mean, that ties into his loyalty and whatnot, too.
He is blindingly loyal.
He is a puppy dog to the Chinese government.
Mostly Pepe.
Yeah. Only Pepe.
Really only Pepe.
But I also love this line. I don't know karate, but I do know crazy.
Yes. Hilarious.
Which Wang tries to get away, we've got to remember that O'Bannon is trying to get out of a duel. And Wang is like, the cultural differences lead to the comedy of, here, you're unarmed, here's your pistol.
Yeah, where he's like trying to weasel his way out. Like, you wouldn't shoot a man with no guns. Wang's over here like, I got your guns.
Yep, here you go.
And then leaves. Like, ducks behind the door and everything.
And he's made to dance as O'Bannon is forced into the duel. Which I love his stance.
I do too.
Or no. Not even the stance first off. It's him stretching.
Yeah, where he's doing the little skyward points.
Yeah, it's
adorable.
What the hell are you doing?
It makes him draw faster.
He's got to be limber.
Before he dies.
Which, Wang gets to show off his skills.
Yes.
Even more so. Because he starts fighting them with a horseshoe on a rope, which I did look up. I believe it was inspired because the director said some Chinese weapon for fighting on boats.
Okay. A little vague.
Yes. To be fair, with this one, I could not find exactly, but a lot of the moves he's using is similar, or it's probably a similar weapon, but I think it's inspired by the rope dart.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which, I watched a handful of, I went down a little rabbit hole of watching
it's so
people.
Cool, though.
It is cool to see that shit done. But Chan had to use a real horseshoe because the fake one was too light, and he promised he wouldn't hit people with the real one.
Because even Jackie Chan was like, yeah, no, that would hurt.
Well,
real bad.
It's also deadly.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not hitting anyone with this.
Horseshoes aren't light.
No, they're really not.
No.
So I put them above my door, where if they fall, I will be killed.
Yes. I don't know, killed. You'd probably get staples.
I prefer death.
I forget that your husband has to force you to go to the dentist.
Yeah, I'm not going. No, just let me bleed out. I'm good.
But I also love in this bit of like how Cleef is trying to like dignify himself of duels separate us from the animals.
Does it really?
No.
Not really.
It's just a formal version of fight for your life.
But also there's plenty of animals that have duels.
I mean, Kind of, yeah.
Birds, insects of all kinds.
Cats.
A lot of cats.
Well,
There's
yeah.
plenty of dogs who pretend to have duels. And then when you put them in the same room, they're like, oh, never mind. JK.
It's just all talk, bro.
Yeah, I just wanted to yell shit at you.
But I do like that O'Bannon's saved by Wang throwing the sheriff badge like it's a throwing star.
It's pretty cool.
Such a dope moment. And now we cut back to the mine where Princess Pei Pei is put to work and told that if she tries to run away, they will kill one worker for every hour she's away.
You know, again, I appreciate that we get real reasons for her not to run.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a good princess reason to not flee.
Yeah. I mean, she's being dutiful. She's trying to protect her people.
It also, like, makes sure that, like, we like Pei Pei. Because, like, we really don't get a lot of screen time with her as a character. So, like, she kind of needs to be, like, vanilla princess.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like, why are we saving the asshole?
And also gives her a reason for the people to follow her, because when she's knocked down, one of the elderly people, or no, an elderly person gets knocked down, and she runs over, and she's like, I know who you are. She's like, shh.
Don't tell nobody.
Yeah, well, I'll take care of you. Also, why the fuck are they speaking English to each other?
You know, for funsies.
I mean,
maybe it's good practice.
I don't think you'd want your technically slaves to
maybe they're not allowed to speak like anything else. It feels like more of a risk to not know what your slaves are saying.
But it's also Fong,
who probably speaks Mandarin. Yeah.
He was exiled from the Forbidden City.
Yeah.
He fucking knows Chinese.
Maybe his guards don't. He can't be everywhere. He's a busy man.
Yeah.
He's got ice to source, oysters to kill, gold to dig up. He's busy. He can't be sitting here listening to all these old people gibberish.
True.
You gotta hire people.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, but I don't know. It's those weird moments where, and I mean, we see a lot of this pre-Inglourious Bastards, which I've seen a lot more. Which I love that they're doing this shit. Is like when it's set in another country, they're actually speaking the language or trying to at least.
Yeah. I mean, we're trying to make up excuses, but like, yeah, we totally could have been.
Yeah.
Like, there could have been subtitles.
Yeah, it just spawned from like my whole thing of like, why is Wang talking to the Native American kid in Chinese?
Good point. Yeah, we could, I mean, but at the same time, this is the 2000s. We've already asked so much.
We've had subtitles for 10 minutes of the movie.
That's a lot for the 2000s, man. For an action comedy.
American 2000s.
For American action comedy that was played off as like a hilarious Western starring Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson, 10 minutes of subtitles is a lot.
Yeah, to be fair, for me, that was a lot of subtitles at the time, too.
Yeah, like, we didn't have the tolerance that we do now.
No. Also of note, there is a poem in the background that's supposed to say something, it's supposed to be historically based, and it's along the lines of how they want to go home.
Yes.
Yeah. But now it's back to O'Bannon and Wang, who have gone to a bordello, which is a fancy name for a whorehouse.
It is a fancy whore home. Thank you very much.
Whore home. What's the cross stitching? They put cross stitch on the pillows.
This isn't a whorehouse. This is a whore home.
I love that.
Also, like, though, this is such a nice establishment.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it's got pretty little trees on the inside, a little piano guy dingling along.
Everyone is already excited that O'Bannon's there.
They all know him.
O'Bannon? O'Bannon!
I like, it kind of gives the impression that he pays way too much money to just, like, talk about his bad day.
Yeah.
Like, here's $50, can I just rant to you? And they're like, yes.
But the scene also vaguely makes me think of The Meaning of Life with every sperm is sacred with all the children popping out of everywhere.
Yeah.
But to a less degree.
I can totally see that, though.
Yeah. Which Roy has said Roy is there to pump them for information.
Mm-hmm. Sure, dude.
But it's time for them to relax. Wang is having issues with riding his horse, which I love that bit of him getting off and just doing the very stereotypical Western walk.
The sore crotch walk.
Yes. Fuck riding horses. But yeah, Roy's only there for one thing and one thing only. And it's time for a drinking game, because there's zero urgency in this movie to...
No, there's no urgency ever.
It's a casual journey to save the princess. They only have 2 weeks.
It's a casual journey to the west.
Yes. Which, I've got questions about the scene of, like, why is the horse alcoholic now?
That does happen, though. Some horses do take a liking to... You shouldn't give your horse alcohol. But it is, like, a comedy western trope.
I also think it's kind of the very poor play on the alcoholism that's pretty rampant in Native American...
Movies and...
Well, movies and also just...
The stereotype.
Yeah.
Maybe. To me, it reminded me a lot of, like, the early, like, there was some early 90s Western comedies where, like, the drunk horse or the drunk cow or the drunk goat was just kind of a stereo thing. Like, you kind of expected it eventually. Kind of like how there was a point in time where, like, a bunch of animated kids movies had, like, the one random drunk animal scene. You're like, why is this in the child's movie? It was, for some reason, a funny gag at the time. It's
like Harvest Moon Friends of Mineral Town, where, Karen drinks her uncle under the table.
Yes. It is similar where, like, where did it come from? Don't know. Where did it go? Again, don't know. But it was in a lot of, like, Western or country-style movies. It was usually a horse, sometimes a cow, sometimes a goat, just kind of like whatever animal happened to be around, and we have one animal in this movie that we care about, so he gets to be the lucky guy.
The drunk horse.
The drunk horse.
Yeah, which... Also, Chan didn't think the whole bath scene would be funny either.
I can see how, like, especially from his humor is so much more vaudeville-y.
Mm-hmm.
I can see where this is, like, this doesn't really line up with his humor. It's definitely more of Owen Wilson's style humor. It's still a funny scene. Not my favorite, but, like, it's not the worst.
It's a drunk bonding moment scene.
It is, and I appreciate the nod to our drunken masters with the bubble mouth.
Yes,
that is funny.
One of my favorite Chan movies to begin with. Also, I think part of the reason Chan wouldn't think this scene would work was also because they use a Chinese drinking game.
Which didn't really translate super well, but, like, it also didn't matter.
Yeah, which they had found out from, like, him at a bar doing it. So they're like, hey, can you incorporate that?
And he's like, there's other ones. They're like, no, that one.
Yeah, which, one, I do not understand it still. I think I tried watching someone explain it to me.
I don't get it. There's, like, a weird amount of math, and I don't understand it.
Yeah, I think it's also just, like, I think it might be like a play on words kind of thing that doesn't translate.
Oh, that would make more sense.
Because someone on IMDb translated it to, 1 crab, 8 feet, painted horns, what a big crab, blinking eye, shrinking head, crawling everywhere, 2 and 2, who should drink, 3 and 3, who drinks first, 5 and 5, who should drink, 2 and 2, you drink first.
Which kind of sounds like a spell to turn someone into a crab.
Yeah. It also just kind of sounds like a shanty that you'd say to, like, everyone drinks together. Because that's the thing. It doesn't really feel like a game of...
Back and forth.
Well, okay. I think what it is. I think probably what it is. And if anyone thinks I'm wrong, please message us and correct me because I'm a dipshit.
And also, we still do not understand this game.
But I think what it is it's kind of like it's like a game you play where you're trying to drink the other person under the table. And so, like, you say the same thing until it gets too sloppy for the other person to finish.
Oh, okay. So we do have some games kind of like that, but without a lot of the math and rhyming.
Yeah.
It's a lot less rhyming.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, maybe.
Yeah.
I like the idea.
Again, a lot of guessing for me because nothing is explained 100%.
No, but you do get the concept of they are drunk as skunks.
Yes, and smell like one too, which is a cheat code for the drunk mode in Red Dead Redemption.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's a fun one. Play that with Invincible. But Wang runs into Marshall after hearing a scream and rescues a woman because the Marshall's a dickhead. Definitely a sadist.
Terrible. Terrible. How dare he to these sweet ladies who take care of our dear s'more child.
Yeah, but he also hears Roy say that, oh, they're not friends, I'm just traveling with him.
Rude.
I'm just guiding him to the princess.
I thought we had bonded in that bathtub, damn it.
Yeah, but quickly forgotten initially because they got to get away because of the marshal.
Yes.
Which I love that Roy has his own, like, anime-style moves where he has to say the name while he does it.
I love it.
Again, tying back into his idea of being, like, a hero or a gangster instead of, like...
Yes, he doesn't feel like a real person.
He is a weeb of the West.
Yes.
Yeah.
With no internet access.
Obviously, by his mistaking of China and Japan.
Yeah, I mean... poor guy.
Yeah. But the drunk horse ruins the escape. They're captured. Time to be interrogated by Lo Feng.
Scary, honestly.
And, well, this scene was inspired by True Romance.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
I can see it.
Yeah. And it also sounds to me like a bad game show of interrogation time with Lo Feng.
Honestly, I'd watch that.
I would.
That sounds like an actual TV show that's on late nights.
It sounds like a name for a bad movie, too.
Or like one of those, like, Wipeout sort of games where it's like, alright, we're gonna hit you with a water balloon until you give up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like one of those ones where you find it, you don't understand anything that's being said, or what's happening, but you can't look away.
MXC.
Yeah.
That kind of vibe.
That sort of thing.
Yeah. But turns out, oh no, the sheriff and the bad guy are in league together.
Surprise, said absolutely nobody.
Yeah. And Wang's queue is cut.
He can't go home.
Nope.
But that's okay, because he now has a wife and an entire family.
Nope, doesn't matter, it's hanging time.
That's true, it is time to die, and I like how Jackie Chan himself was like, yes, the scene is cool, but I was nervous because hanging, very dangerous.
Yeah. Yeah, he's
not wrong.
No, it is very hard.
But it looks so cool in this.
And
I like how even Jackie Chan was like, the funniest part of this movie, the fact that you land in your own coffin.
Yeah. But one, I also love that this is a big town event.
Yes.
Kind of like in The Black Knight, where it's like, this is the entertainment of the month.
Yep. Come watch these two idiots die. Oh boy.
And we finally get, like, the clicking of the horse finally paying off.
Yes.
And
Go Fredo.
We get a little bit more of modern music as they get away, as Aerosmith re-recorded Back in the Saddle for this movie.
Honestly, it works.
Yeah.
It fits.
Yeah. And, I mean, it's the one of two minus the credit. In the length of the movie, the actual, like, modern music.
And honestly, it stands out. It's a song that people recognize, and the song alone feels badassy. So pair it up with the scene, the fact that it's not all rock throughout the whole movie, I think it actually works. Not usually my favorite, but I think it works.
Yeah, especially for this kind of movie.
Yes.
And so they're back on the road. O'Bannon has a new lease on life, but doesn't understand Wang's determination to keep going, or why he's pissed off because he told some sex worker that they were not friends.
How dare he?
Right, he was in bed with Fifi.
You know, at some point, the name list at the lady house has to get low.
Yeah.
You gotta pick at least one. Fifi was on the list. She had to go with it.
I guess. But they part ways for now, and Wang finds the camp and just waddles on in.
You know what? He's been lost this whole movie. I give it to him.
Sure.
You know? He's so lost, he ended up in the right spot.
Yeah. Which, he now finds a princess who wants to help the people in America rather than return to the Forbidden City.
How noble.
So noble. Well, I mean, it also fits her character. She's trying to get away to begin with, so she's found a reason to stay in America rather than be in China.
Yeah, honestly, for how little we get about her character's fairly well done.
Mm-hmm. And Wang's loyalty exposes her as the princess, and he's commanded to go home.
But can he?
Nope, because Lo Feng starts fucking shit up, but it's O'Bannon to the rescue, and this time Wang's the little dude in the West, and O'Bannon's actually kind of a badass.
You know what? It's fine, though, because up until this point, he really hasn't had a whole lot of, in the spotlight moments where he wasn't just the comedy kid. So,
and he has no more moments after this.
Yeah, so like I don't mind it.
No.
It feels redeeming.
Well, because the Jewish travelers arrive at the mission.
Boy, they make really good time.
Yeah, and things actually seem to be going well until Chong Wang and Roy O'Bannon come to fuck it up.
Of course.
Which they're all forced into fighting. Chong or Wang has to fight the Imperial Guards. And O'Bannon has to have a shootout with what's his name? Fleek or whatever?
You're the one guy.
Cleef.
That's it.
Cleef. Which the director said at this part they couldn't out-Matrix the Matrix, so they went old school martial arts.
Honestly, it works, though.
Yeah, and forced the fighting between Wang and the guards.
And we needed to have a final brawl anyway. So it's, it all works out.
And also, it's a nice detour because they do bring up the line, it's a Mexican standoff, only we ain't got no Mexicans.
He's not wrong.
Yeah. Which, honestly, I love the way they've edited this scene is because Chan's martial arts and action really break off Roy's classic Western standoff.
Yes.
Because, honestly, Roy's standoff is kind of a bit dry.
But honestly, standoffs are kind of dry.
Yeah, that's the point.
You shoot and someone dies.
Yeah.
It's really not that exciting.
It's the build-up. It's the first 5 minutes of the good, the bad, and the ugly that Brian refuses to get past.
He cannot get past the whistling. One of these days, we will force it.
Oh no, we'll do it as an episode and we will make him watch it.
Yes, correct.
Yeah. Here's the thing. So I saw, and I normally say this for the end, but I saw quite a few reviews complaining that there was not enough martial arts for fans of Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. It's because this movie isn't solely a martial arts movie.
Yeah.
It's a mixture of it. And also, he's not in China. So the only people he has to do martial arts against is Lo Fong and the guards.
Yeah, and on top of that, it is a Jackie Chan film, but it's a 50-50 Jackie Chan film.
Yeah.
So, it is... I would be disappointed if there wasn't more cowboy stuff. If it was all martial arts, it wouldn't be a Western.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, yeah, I think that's the biggest thing is, I think that's a weak complaint of, not understanding the setup for the movie and expecting it to be a certain way because an actor's in it.
Yeah. And honestly, it's not that we don't have a good bit of Jackie Chan martial arts in the film. It's paced out fairly well throughout the movie, where it's not like it's all at the beginning or all at the end. We do get a couple fights sprinkled throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. And this is just the big brawl at the end.
Exactly.
Which, even during all this, the marshal has time to light a cigarette because O'Bannon is shit.
You know what? That's confidence right there.
I love the bit. Am I hitting you? We're getting closer.
It's good. It's real good.
Which, in even their final showdown of him shooting at O'Bannon as O'Bannon falls by the rules and only uses one gun.
Yes.
Or one bullet.
He is too good for the West.
I also love the line of how are you even still alive?
That is a good question,
yes.
sir. That is a very good question.
Which also I think there's a nice tie into this movie at the end where at the end of the big fight, Lo Feng is the one who ends up hanging.
Yes. It's a nice twist.
Yeah. And Wang is actually saved at the end from the bell following him by Pei Pei rolling on top of him.
You know what? Why not? She doesn't do anything else this movie.
I mean, I wouldn't complain either.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I mean, he is married, but
It's also Lucy Liu.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. And we got a quick reprieve, and a moment of doubt from O'Bannon, who is riding the high of his win as he pulls out his poncho and he's got bullet holes all over the place.
He's so lucky. God damn.
And for some reason, Wallace and the gang have shown up. Also in the scene, one of the guys who's playing the injured guard in the background during their big heart-to-heart moment, he's just kind of sitting there rocking back and forth and kind of wincing, and it's
he had a bad day, okay? This was a bad day for him. He's not getting paid anymore. It's long. Let the man grieve.
fine. I'll leave it there. But they decide they're going to go out guns a-blazing. Wong spits into his hand, and then Wallace spits into Wong's hand.
It's hilarious.
It's a nice tie back to their gesture.
Yeah, like, it does feel like a genuine friendship. I like that.
Yeah, but no other final shootout. They've been saved by the Native Americans who are somehow on the roof.
You know what? In-laws to the rescue.
Yeah. It's fine. It's a repeat of... Well, it's the Sioux again. It's a repeat of them saving him on the ridge.
Yeah, no, it all works out.
Shooting their guns into the air.
I mean, bullets are easy to come by in the West, I'm sure.
Yeah. And now we cut to the final celebration. They both get their girls. Wayne gets the princess. O'Bannon gets falling leaves, which is kind of the low minor payoff that I really appreciate of some of the writing of this. Where falling leaves is now with a white man.
Yeah.
And we cut to the very final scene of this movie where Wang and O'Bannon are watching the train where they first met, but now O'Bannon is the sheriff. And it's revealed that O'Bannon's real name is Wyatt Earp,
who happens to be
a real cowboy, which Wang makes fun of.
Yeah,
saying that's a bad cowboy name.
No, it turned out that Wyatt Earp was a real person. He was a gambler and a sheriff, and him and his likeness has made an appearance in lots of westerns, including The Dog Sheriff and Fievel Goes West.
Oh God,
whose name is Wiley Burp.
And for those who don't know, his main credit, he was involved at the OK Corral.
Yeah, but also if you Google him, one of the first things that pops up is gambler.
Yeah, gambler and American lawman.
So, he really had his priorities straight.
Yeah. And so the two ride off into the sunset as the credits roll. And it's time for bloopers. Yeah. Which I miss bloopers.
I miss bloopers too.
Especially credit roll bloopers.
Credit roll bloopers, especially for a DVD. Because in the theaters, I can understand not wanting to sit around and wait for bloopers for a theater scene. Most of the time you're kind of anxious to get out. Well, but at home, I've got the time.
I'm the exact opposite. So normally I don't watch bloopers. I don't watch the gag reels.
Oh, okay.
I normally that's the only time I watch them is during the credits, because for me it's still part of the movie. I mean, for the most part I do sit through credits regardless.
See, I have the terrible habit of, if I am at a theater, I am getting a giant drink. And so by the time the credits hit, me and half the audience are booking it to the bathroom, and I don't have time to potentially pee myself laughing. But at home, I don't have access to an entire liter worth of soda.
Okay.
Usually.
I normally don't drink when I go to a movie in a theater, so...
You are the true movie goer. I am the one who just ends up there.
Yeah, I also am very aware that I have a small bladder to begin with, so I don't put myself in that situation.
And I am too addicted to Diet Coke.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
But Shanghai Noon, which it's done well.
Yeah, I mean, people still watch it.
Yeah, I mean, when it was released, it was third for that month or for that week.
Doing pretty good.
To be fair, it was behind Dinosaur and Mission Impossible, too.
You know what, though? For what it is, I'm kind of impressed it did that well.
Oh, yeah. And especially for, relatively new actors and actresses to
you wouldn't necessarily know exactly what you were getting into.
Yeah. Well received by critics and fans alike. I mean, it spawned a less well-received sequel, but...
Yeah, the sequel's just okay.
There was also a potential third movie in the franchise, but...
But honestly, why? We really only needed the one.
So actually, I've heard about this for a while, and I really would have liked the third movie in the franchise because it would have gone back to China.
Okay. I would have been more okay if we skipped Great Britain altogether and just went straight back to China. That would have been cool.
Which now I've remembered, I do have a collection of. I have the entire collection of Once Upon a Time in China to watch.
There we go.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, for me, Shanghai Noon is one of those weird nostalgic movies of my childhood.
Okay.
That I appreciate it.
this for me isn't a childhood movie.
Okay.
I didn't get to this movie until, like, late into high school.
Okay.
It just wasn't on my radar, but I was a huge fan of Around the World in 80 Days. No Owen Wilson, but very similar vibes.
Okay.
Similar storytelling, similar Jackie Chan appearance, and I've always been a huge fan of Jackie Chan, and this movie was never a hard leap for me to, like, get on the fandom boat of.
No, I can see that. Yeah, and I mean, honestly, for what it is, like you said at the very start of the episode, this movie has aged quite well.
For what it is, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Because we talk about it all the time, like, Westerns have a sticky spot in history, because the real history of Westerns isn't as cool or pretty as the movies are.
No, and even then, the movie's representation of just the history of the time is very...
It's skewed. It's
skewed
way
hella
off.
skewed. And we really did get to see a change in that at the start with the Lone Rider. And we're kind of seeing the opposite side of that, because by this time, Westerns are pretty much a dead genre.
Yeah, at this point, I do think now that most of the general America audience realizes that we were lied to in school, and, like, none of us really knew or understood what happened during that time period.
Yeah.
Especially in the West. I do think we're seeing a little bit more interest in, like, more realistic Westerns.
Yes.
But this isn't a realistic Western. This is a comedy.
Yeah.
With Kung Fu in it.
But at the same time, like, it's believable.
No.
Because...
And, like, they did put some effort into it. Is it a perfect representation?
No.
But I will give them credit for the fact that they put a lot more effort in than I originally thought they did.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I mean, I've kind of been on this us not planning stuff 100%, just me stumbling upon things. Like, I've had this since we watched, for one of the last nights, we watched the Keanu Reeves remake of 47 Ronin.
Oh, yes, okay.
And I've started trying to pick up on this, but there's this weird thing in especially Western cinema when it comes to the Far East or native people, where regardless of whatever the story is, granted it's hit and miss on this, but there's this weird thing of trying to shove this, like, mysticism into it, like this exoticism of, like, no, this was a real event, this was a real time period. And I think, despite it being a comedy, Shanghai Noon does a good job of keeping that feeling of the West going on. Yes,
and, like, it doesn't shy away from some of the realities that was the American West.
No.
The fact that it wasn't all golden them hails sort of folk out there. There's a lot of people not necessarily wanting to work.
No. And that's where putting the comic reliefs of Owen Wilson, completely mixing up China and Japan.
Yeah, bless him.
And then also the settlers mistaking the Chinese guards as Jewish.
Yes, like, I appreciate that the movie knew that it was a comedy that was going to have to deal with a lot of different people, and it tried to kind of evenly disperse the humor and take the heaviest hits at the people who had nothing really to lose, which was ye old standard Americana.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So
I feel like that's a good way to go about it.
Yeah. So I guess at the end of it, Chris, what do you rate this movie?
Oh, this is a good bad for me, easy.
Yeah.
This movie's so much fun, but it's not a work of art.
No.
But it gets so much right.
It does. And I have to agree with that. It is definitely a good bad watch. Where it's pure entertainment.
It is solely for giggles.
Yeah. And it's just bad in all the right places of, like,
there's effort put into its badness.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes it work compared to, like, Gintama, for example, where Gintama was so over the top bad, it was good for you.
Yes.
Where this just hits that happy medium of good bad, where I have a feeling in, say, 20 years from now, if someone rediscovers this movie, they're like, this is so dumb, but I love it.
Yes.
Kind of, it has a very similar feel to Kung Pao a little bit at times.
There has quite a lot of, like, humor elements of, like, this is either going to tickle your funny bone or you're just really not gonna get it.
Yeah.
But if this is your humor style, this is gonna be, you're gonna really just kind of come back to it every once in a while.
Yeah. And so I guess our last little bit of this review, Chris, do you recommend watching it nowadays?
Oh, definitely. This movie's hilarious, especially if you're old school Jackie Chan lover. If you like the like humor westerns, this is a really good like play on a spaghetti western. Mm-hmm. There's not too much of anything in one direction. You can totally get away with watching this with literally anybody. It's a solid pick to just put on.
Same. And for me, from a historical context, it is a good one to see this converging of just icons of Hollywood that are now kind of not as iconic as they once were.
They have come and gone and trying new things now. This was their new thing back then.
Yes, exactly. So, but anywho, this has been The Good, the Bad, and the Weird.
Thanks for listening.
Peace. Thank you for stopping by this here town of The Good, the Bad, and the Weird. We appreciate your listenership, and if you want more of our takes in your life, feel free to check us out on social media at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, or TGTBTW for short. As well, if we missed a fact, your favorite part of a movie, or just have a suggestion and want to reach out and say howdy, feel free to email us at tgtbtwpodcast@gmail.com. And feel free to join our Discord at The Good, the Bad, and the Weird Podcast, where we talk about movies, just share random banter here and there. And always check out our podcasters, streamers, or any other content creator we shout out in our episodes. We really appreciate it. And as always, thank you for listening. Peace.